The Galactic Council chamber stretched across 3 kilometers of polished obsidian, its vaulted ceiling lost in artificial stars. Representatives from 400 civilizations sat in concentric rings, their forms as varied as the cosmos itself. At the chamber's heart, on a platform designed for supplicants, stood 2 humans. Kiza adjusted her uniform collar, feeling the weight of Earth's hopes pressing against her shoulders. Beside her, Nick stood motionless, his jaw set in that particular way she'd learned meant he was calculating probabilities. They had traveled 8 months through fold space to reach this moment, carrying humanity's petition for membership in the oldest alliance in the known galaxy. The Archon of the Council, a crystalline being whose thoughts manifested as prismatic light, spoke in the universal frequency that translated directly into neural comprehension. The species-designated human requests full membership status. Present your credentials. Kiza stepped forward, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Humanity offers advanced computational systems, quantum physics research, and cultural diversity spanning 7 billion individuals. We've achieved faster-than-light travel independently and maintained peace across our world for 30 years. A ripple of something moved through the assembly. It took Kiza a moment to recognize it. Amusement. The Vrexian ambassador, a being of flowing mercury, spoke next. Your computational systems are derivative. The Kelnari invented quantum processing 6,000 years before your species discovered fire. Its form pulsed with what translated as condescension. You are children playing with toys you barely understand. Your cultural diversity? Another voice, this one from a hive mind collective that spoke in perfect harmony. We are composed of 17 million individual consciousnesses acting as one. Your squabbling factions cannot agree on basic resource distribution. Nick's hand twitched toward the data slate at his hip, but Kiza touched his arm gently. She'd prepared for skepticism, but not this casual dismissal, this open mockery. The Archon's light dimmed to a patronizing warmth. Humanity, your species, is quaint. You have potential, perhaps, in another 1,000 years. But you lack the refinement, the evolution, the simple maturity that council membership demands. We've survived 2 world wars, Nick said quietly. We rebuilt from nuclear fire. Laughter. Actual laughter echoed through the chamber in a dozen different frequencies. A 6-legged creature from a methane world clicked in derision. War? You consider survival of self-inflicted catastrophe an achievement? The Zelthari resolved all conflict through neural synthesis millennia ago. The Kree ascended beyond physical violence before they achieved spaceflight. You humans still murder each other over invisible lines on your planet's surface. The truth in those words burned like acid. Kiza felt her carefully prepared speeches crumbling to ash. She'd spent years learning galactic protocols, studying the achievements of council species, preparing humanity's case. None of it mattered. They weren't being evaluated. They were being humored. What about our art? Kiza tried once more, her voice smaller now. Our music, our literature, our derivative, the Vrexian interrupted. The harmonics of Salus Prime compose symphonies across dimensions you cannot perceive. The poets of Velshara write in quark-level manipulation. Your cave paintings hold a certain primitive charm, I suppose. The Archon raised a crystalline appendage, silencing the assembly. Humanity, the Council appreciates your enthusiasm. We will consider your application in due course. Return to your world. Perhaps in a few centuries, when you have outgrown your adolescent fascination with violence and tribalism, we can revisit this conversation. You are dismissed. Dismissed. Like children sent away from the adult table. Kiza felt something crack inside her chest. Some fundamental hope she hadn't realized she'd been carrying. She looked at Nick, saw the same hollow devastation in his eyes. They had come so far, sacrificed so much. Earth had united for this, setting aside centuries of division to present a single voice to the stars. And the stars had laughed. Nick was the first to move. He reached into his jacket and withdrew a small device, placing it carefully on the presentation platform. This is a translator key, he said, his voice devoid of emotion, for accessing the humanitarian research databases we'd prepared to share. Medical treatments, agricultural innovations, fusion reactor designs, things we thought might benefit the Council. How generous, the Vrexian said, dripping sarcasm. Though I doubt. Keep it or destroy it, Nick continued, speaking over the ambassador. It doesn't matter. He turned to Kiza. We're done here. Kiza understood. Not just done with the presentation. Done with this entire charade of seeking approval from beings who saw them as cosmic jokes, she straightened her spine, meeting the Archon's prismatic gaze. "Thank you for your time," she said, each word precisely controlled. Earth withdraws its application for council membership. A moment of confused silence. "You're refusing membership?" The Archon's light flickered with something that might have been surprise. "We're recognizing reality," Kiza replied. "You've made your position clear. Humanity isn't welcome here. We accept that." She gestured to Nick, and together they turned toward the exit. "Wait!" The Archon's command froze them mid-step. "You misunderstand. The Council offers provisional membership, with restrictions and observation periods. This is standard for developing species. In time, no." Nick's single syllable cut through the chamber like a blade. He turned back, and Kiza saw something dangerous in his expression. Not anger, something colder. "You don't get to mock us for an hour and then offer charity. We came here seeking partnership, not pity." "This is highly irregular," a reptilian delegate hissed. "Species beg for centuries to join the council." "You're throwing away what exactly?" Kiza interrupted. "The privilege of being your mascot? Your pet project? The novelty species you can parade around as proof of your enlightened tolerance?" She shook her head. "We'll pass." The hive mind spoke, its unity fracturing slightly with confusion. "You cannot simply leave. The galaxy operates under council authority. Trade routes, resource allocation, territorial boundaries, all are governed by our charters. Without membership, you are functionally isolated." "Then we'll be isolated," Nick said simply. "Earth managed for millions of years without knowing you existed. We'll figure it out." "This is foolishness," the Vrexian spluttered. "Your pride will doom your species to irrelevance. Do you understand what you're refusing? The protection of the Council fleet alone protects us from what?" Kiza asked. "You've made it abundantly clear that we're beneath your notice. I doubt anyone's going to waste resources threatening such a primitive, derivative, quaint little species." For the first time since entering the chamber, Kiza felt something like power. Not the power of advanced technology or ancient wisdom, but the simple power of choice. The power to walk away. The Archon's light pulsed rapidly, a display Kiza's neural translator couldn't quite parse. "If you leave now, Earth will be marked as outside council jurisdiction. No protection, no trade, no support." "Noted," Nick said. He'd already reached the chamber doors. Kiza followed, feeling the weight of 400 civilizations' attention on her back. She didn't look back. Neither did Nick. They walked through the massive doors in perfect silence, their footsteps echoing in the sudden quiet of the council chamber. The walk back to their ship took 20 minutes through the council station's gleaming corridors. Neither of them spoke. What was there to say? They'd failed. Worse, they'd been humiliated. And now they'd condemned Earth to galactic isolation out of wounded pride. But as Kiza climbed into their ship's cockpit and initiated pre-flight sequences, she felt something unexpected. Relief. They didn't need the Council's approval. They never had. Humanity had reached the stars on their own. They'd solve their problems the same way. "Earth Command is going to be furious," Nick said softly, breaking the silence. "Probably," Kiza agreed. She engaged the engines. "But we'll deal with that when we get home." "Do you think we did the right thing?" Kiza considered the question as their ship pulled away from the station, the council chambers shrinking in their viewport. "I think we did the human thing. We'll find out if that's right." As they jumped to fold space, leaving the council and its 400 laughing civilizations behind, neither of them saw the emergency session being called in the chamber they'd abandoned. Neither heard the Archon's worried declaration. A species that powerful, that proud, now refuses council oversight. This could be a problem. But then they were only human. What could they possibly do that would matter to a galaxy that had evolved beyond them? The Council would find out soon enough. Earth didn't need permission to be great. It never had. And sometimes the most powerful statement is silence followed by the sound of walking away.